So excited to be here, let me tell you. Imagine this. It's Friday afternoon, and I was wrapping up the last couple patients at the office, ecstatic for the weekend ahead. That's when I received a phone call from the hospital where I was employed. To my surprise, it wasn't a nurse notifying me with a new patient. Instead, it was the HR department requesting I stop working immediately due to recent event at the office. I don't know about you, but this is not a phone call I wanted to receive on a Friday afternoon or any other day. I froze. I worked hard for many years. I graduated at the top of my class in medical school and immigrated to the United States. Eventually, I was accepted into the University of Chicago prestigious pediatric residency program, where later I was asked to become chief resident. At the same time, I was pursuing my other passion, building a family. My days became a meticulously curated routine. I would wake up early to work out before my 3 kids were up, get them ready for school, head to the office, work all day, come home just in time to get dinner ready, still wearing my high heels. Then help them with their homework, take them to different activities, bedtime, and now you would think I'll relax? No. Catch up on office charts. Before I finally made it to bed, almost always past midnight. And repeat. My entire identity was built around being a mom and a pediatrician. I thought I was killing it. I was like a Superman. Even my kids' friends called me Super Mom because I was the school mom who's in her limited spare time would take them on trips to the city and host, not to brag, the best slumber parties. But even Superman and Supermoms have their kryptonite. I was chronically sleep deprived. I started to suffer from severe migraines, including a rare form called hemiplegic migraine, which symptoms resemble a stroke. During the attack, I would temporarily lose my ability to move the right side of my body, to speak, and I'm a good talker, by the way, and at times, I would lose consciousness. I was completely unaware I was in a survival mode, and the stress of everything was catching up to me. I was becoming the elephant in the room, and everyone around me was walking on eggshells, especially my staff. One day, after a terrible night's sleep, I woke up with such a bad headache, but I had a full schedule ahead of me. I pushed through. Towards the end of the day, the migraine was getting so much worse, and with it, the pounding in my head was becoming more and more deafening. I could feel a hemiplegic attack creeping in, and with it, waves of anger and frustration. I knew I needed help. I looked at a staff member and I asked, call the ER. She just stared back at me as if she didn't understand me. The truth is, she didn't. Because what I had said, the slurring had begun. I tried again. She still didn't understand me. No one could. Here I was on the verge of paralysis and passing out, and no one could hear me. In utter frustration, I threw my stethoscope at the floor. She thought I threw it at her. Years later, I know she did the right thing by calling HR. The truth is, I needed help. I was completely burnt out. The migraines were a sign that something was wrong, but I ignored them until I couldn't anymore. On top of the burnout, I was exhausted. I couldn't tell you the last time I had a good night's sleep. Burnout is a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by prolonged stress, feeling overworked, or let's face it, being undervalued. It affects all aspects of our lives, our health, relationships, and our careers. Some of the symptoms of burnout are chronic fatigue, lack of concentration, lack of motivation, headache, muscle tension, stomach issues, and last but not least, insomnia and sleep disturbances. According to the Sleep Health Foundation, burnout and sleep have bidirectional relationship. That means they both affect each other greatly. If you are sleep deprived, you are most likely to experience symptoms of burnout and vice versa. If you are burnt out, most likely, like me, you have had problems with your sleep. And the cycle continues. It can get worse. You can become sleep deprived, which in turn can lead into weakened immune system, increased risk of chronic disease, dementia, mental illness, and listen to this one, sexual dysfunction. It's true. The lack of sleep, the burnout, is incredibly common. According to the Center for Disease Control, 1 in 3 adults report problems with their sleep. And up to 40% of people report falling asleep during the day without meaning to. That's almost half of us. And how do we cope? How many cups of coffee have you had today? 1, 2, too many? Even when I was a third-year resident and pregnant with my second child, I was drinking at least 2 to 3 extra large black coffees a day, including evening time. My second child is also the one who decided to take off running in a busy airport just before we were about to land an overseas flight when she was 2 years old. I can't prove anything, but maybe I shouldn't have had that much coffee, maybe. I want to share with you now a story about a former patient of mine. Let's call him John. John was now a sophomore in college. I asked him, how did his midterm go? John was struggling with his chemistry class. The night before the test, he decided to pull an all-nighter. Have you done that before? Not a great idea. He loaded on coffee and energy drinks. He even got hold of his tutor at 3 in the morning to help him study. The test was at 9 a.m. He dragged himself to the lecture hall. The story doesn't have a happy ending. John was so sleep deprived, he could barely keep his eyes open. Never mind retaining much of the information he crammed the night before. He failed the test and dropped the class. According to Dr. Matthew Walker, a professor of neuroscience and psychology at Berkeley, at UC Berkeley, and the author of Why We Sleep, sleep enhances memory retention, consolidation, and problem solving. The best thing John could have done before the test is to sleep. If you take anything from my talk today, this is the one. Society has us on this fast-moving train that we feel like we don't have the brakes to. Whether you're a student or in the workforce, we all internalize that pressure, and we start to hold ourselves to such high standard to achieve success. But very often what we really need to do is to push on that brake to slow down before we break down. Remember that my daughter, the fleeing toddler, she grew up to pursue a career in television. Her dreams were quickly realized after graduation. She worked on various TV shows, one of which she called her dream job. But dreams only exist if they have boundaries. My daughter worked up to 15 hours a day, fully remote, alone in her room for over a year. She refused to take a single day off and worked through lunch. Simply, there was too much to be done. Eventually, the excess screen time gave her chronic headaches. And you are correct, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And the stress of needing accessible 24/7 interrupted her sleep cycle. She started to function on less and less sleep every night, averaged 4 hours a night for an entire year. Now, until the show finally wrapped, my daughter was able to acknowledge how much her sleep and her mental health have been affected by her workload. What my daughter, John, and myself really needed was to take a nap. It works and applies for everyone who wants to work on avoiding and treating burnout. Let me explain. N is for no. Remember, no is a complete sentence. It means setting and enhancing your boundaries. Many of us, we were not taught how to set boundaries. I wasn't taught, I didn't teach my kids, but it's never too late. Now, whenever my daughter joins a show, she is intentional about setting those healthy boundaries. 2, A. A is for awareness. I love that word. If you are feeling exhausted or burnt out, check in on your sleep and your triggers. Remember that bidirectional relationship between burnout and sleep? Awareness is the first step to making change. 3, power of connection. 40% of us are falling asleep during the day. The only good thing about it, guess what? We're not alone. In fact, we are never alone. If you are feeling exhausted, reach out to someone you trust. Ask for help. After the office incident, I realized I was doing so much by myself. Some may call it micromanaging. I agree. Now, I have a village I lean on. Every time I have a new family in my office, I ask them, who's in your village? I invite you, all of you, to ask the same question today. 4, prioritize your self-care, which includes your mental, emotional, and physical well-being. And no, it's not selfish, because guess what? If we don't have our health, we have absolutely nothing. We can't pour from an empty cup. So next time you are feeling burnt out or exhausted, try these strategies and take a nap. I'm gonna go back to that phone call I received from HR so long ago, many years ago. I was asked to take a couple weeks off to get the help I needed. Those 2 weeks turned into 4 months, during which I learned so much about myself and how to live with intention. I made the conscious choice to never, ever get burnt out again. It did take years to find that balance, let me tell you, but now I prioritize me. Does that mean I'm not busy? It's the total opposite. I'm busier than ever before. I have an amazing, thriving pediatric practice with the best team by my side. And I promise, the stethoscope does stay around my neck. My success doesn't come at the expense of my well-being. I sleep 7-8 hours a night. I meditate and journal every morning to ground myself before I go to the office. I bike and do yoga and socialize with people who bring me joy. If I am feeling tired or overwhelmed, I have no problem saying no. All that to say, I am living the NAPP. And I hope you all join me in taking a nap today. Thank you.